right, we are back, and I got a brand new series for you. We are continuing what we did with Quest for 2400, and we're taking it all the way to 2500, or should I say, I already have. And I've analyzed a number of key games, and we're going to be going through these. I've had some requests lately. One of those, make the board bigger. You know, I played with the format a little bit. Hopefully this meets the specification to some of the people I've been getting that message about. I also had somebody, they're like, play the Alekhine every now and then. Okay, I got you. I got some Alekhines coming up. I played a few different systems in this, not just sticking with, like in Quest for 2400, with the English, Sicilian, and King's Indian. We sprinkled in some other things, so there's some surprises for you guys. And without further ado, let's go ahead and jump into game one. And this was in English. And we get our 4-night situation. And I'm still dabbling. I really like this E3 stuff. Being a Sicilian player and having those con-Sicilian overlapped colors reversed, I liked it. So, should be noted that there are two major systems here for black that get played on a regular basis. Like, any reasonable dark square bishop move is aligned. But D5 I see really frequently, and that's going to be coming up in a few games. And bishop B4. And I really love Chessable, and there is a lifetime repertoire on the English there, and these E3 lines are recommended. But one of the major differences between how I like to play these systems and how they're recommended in that text, I find that text to be pretty solid. Not a lot of risk-taking, not a lot of hardcore imbalances. I like to make a mess of the position, so, I like to get dirty every now and then. So if, for instance, bishop takes c3, this is one of the major differences that I have versus that text. Whereas queen takes c3 is the main move in the text, very solid, same type of theme as like a classical Nimzo Indian. A bishop captures on c3, you take with the queen, which loses a tempo, but you get the bishop pair, ta-da. I like B takes c3, and you'll see quickly here why. There's two major variations for black. The first one after e4, knight g5, taking a look at that pawn on e4, defense, f3, putting pressure, and we get this dynamic pawn structure that we're able to play with. I can very much think about moves like d3 and e4 in the future, get this bishop out of the way, castle, use the open f-file to good effect. This is not a pawn structure that pops up very frequently. It's fluid. I like this type of structure. You can be creative with it. The other, after b takes c3, is castle, in which case we have e4, and through arrows, the magic of arrows, you can see the plan here, a very King's Indian-esque style. And we know I kind of play that every now and then too. G3, bishop G2, castle, D3. You could get that knight out of the way on F3 and play F4. That's why black needs to be playing critically, having an active plan. But a lot of the time, especially when I'm playing against lower-rated players, they'll just kind of sit because they have a solid position and allow me my automatic attack on the king side. So coming back to our main game, d6 was played, and I'm already thinking about a certain position when I got this, and it starts with knight d5, and this is not so much to be able to take on b4 as much as it is to put the question to this knight on f6, because it is the main defender of the king side. And in many of these variations, white's able to place pressure by attacking the king side. So, for instance, if you decide to grab here, that's not going to work out too well for you because you have bishop problems. Thank you, Puzzle Rush. And if you simply castle, now, again, king side issues. Bishop d3, putting the question to the h-pawn, now h6. And here I could have been a bit more accurate. You get something similar to the main game. I should have played a3, gained the tempo, and then captured on f6, followed by bishop b2, and we get this variation c5. And this is critical because the bishop is on b6, and this is one of those major differences compared to the main game. After takes, I like white's position, dynamic, interesting, and most of black's pieces are still in the back rank. I played knight takes f6 immediately in the game, a3. I was worried potentially about black playing e4 if I played b4 with the discovery on my rook. So bishop e4 stops that first. Now after b4, compared to that sideline we just looked at, black has a much improved position because his bishop is tucked away safely on a7. I have no undermining idea with c5. And one of the things I want you to notice here after f5 is the transition in pawn structure. I go bishop d5 check and then d4. And after e4, we clip, and lo and behold, we have a colors reverse French pawn structure. It's almost as if there's overlap with both colors with my opening repertoire and how I play things. Kind of writing a book on the French defense will make you more comfortable, believe it or not, with playing French structures. So I'm right at home here. And after d5, understanding French structures, some of you may have that knee-jerk reaction to go, oh, we can shut this bishop down forever by playing c5. But where's our counterplay going to come? I know, on the other hand, that at some point I can capture and place pressure on this open c file. If he captures me, it makes the situation even worse. My knight can potentially get to a very nasty square. So where's black's plan? Black needs to be trying to rip open the king side any way he can. You know, do your thing. So I need to get some pressure here. Rook ac1. And my opponent, to his credit, who is 2501 by Lee Chess Blitz rating, starts his attack. C takes d5 and queen h4. And already this is a critical moment where I would say both myself and my opponent are already down to about a minute and change on the clock. So give yourself 10 seconds or so. If you want to pause the video, you're one of those people to figure it out, do it. What is the best move for white? Go. Okay, keep moving along. Start doing a little bit more pause type questions for you guys. Now in the main game, I played e takes f4, but the best move is queen takes e4. I had missed that after bishop f5, I could play queen takes f4 because the bishop blocks the eye of the rook on f8. Now, all is not lost though after e takes f4. Queen takes c6. Queen takes c7, hitting that bishop on a7. Now I ask you again. White to move, 10 seconds, go. Remember, you're in time trouble. Okay, hopefully you found best play here. I sure didn't. I took the bishop on a7 because I like material sometimes. I got greedy. But it should be noted that white's still winning after queen takes a7. I should have played g3, where black is going to have some pretty hard problems to solve here. As I'm looking at it now, I'm just thinking queen g5, queen takes f4, and I'm happy to trade down the house here. Good game. I played queen takes a7 though, and now you put your position up in the air. The bishop on b2 is staring at a pawn. The knight on d2 is not doing anything. The rook on c1 doesn't have a target. My white queen's offsides. My rook on f1 is doing nothing but defending the f-pawn. Even though black is down a mass amount of material, he has full coordination for the one thing that matters, the attack. So here we have a critical position. And it's white to play and win, but defense can be difficult. We're always studying tactics on how to win through aggression. How about we take this defensive position and try to hold it together? Well, in the main game, I played knight takes e4. So I'm just trying to dissuade pieces away from me. I want to be able to get a rook lift in and just defend everything. That rook lift is a key defensive idea, and I understood it, but I went about it with the wrong execution. What should have been played is the greedy-looking g takes h3, because even though black is crashing through on f2, queen c7 holds everything together like glue. e3, we just want to trade. Let's trade it out. And what we end up getting is a completely winning queen and pawn ending. The extra b has got to help. But I played knight takes e4, and after bishop takes g2, we have a key moment in understanding chess. And I've been winning this game since easily since I broke through on the C file. But here's the moment where I turn the tables on myself and go from completely winning to completely losing. Now, the move that I played in the game was knight g3, and this is a steamy pile of poo. We can do better than that. What I should have played was king takes g2, because again, black cannot get to me. Rook takes e4, that key defensive resource, rook c3, and after rook g3, our bishop on b2 is immune to capture due to the mate threat. But after knight g3, now we got one of those aggressive tactics. Black to play and win. Now that I've told you that, you should be able to find it. Let's go old school. Don't move until you see it. Pause the video if you don't see it. All right, I'm going to show you. Best move, queen h3. Now, it is nigh impossible to stop the next move by black. After rook c3, we're holding together some of it. Rook h4 with the end of the discussion. Now, lucky for me, my opponent, being in mass time trouble like myself, decided to play bishop f3. And this gives me just enough time to play the move I've been wanting to play under the right circumstances, rook c3. And after bishop takes, I'm starting to get some coordination and get my pieces working. No mates, no thank you. Said no thank you, do not mate me. And now we're back to a white to play and win situation. Hopefully you spot that rook takes f3, followed by the queen check. Love arrows. Wins the rook, and now we have a simple trade down job. And I'll go through the last remaining moves pretty quickly here, as this was absolute mass time scramble at this point. Make sure your opponent can't check you. He does anyway. Stop the checks. Organize your pieces. Don't stalemate the guy, and he runs out of time. And that'll do it for game one. And I'm hoping that you guys will enjoy this series like the previous one. And I'm still looking forward to getting some games in from you guys to do analysis. Remember, if you got a game that you would like analyzed like this, send it to me. NMB Tillis, as in National Master, NMB Tillis, Tillis, at gmail.com. I will keep you and your opponent anonymous, and we'll go through the game, and hopefully we'll learn something. Thanks.